Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. All right. My favorite day of the year, primary day, was yesterday.
I thought you were going to say hump day.
I thought you were going to say Amazon Prime Day.
We all had different things going on.
What a nerd I am. Your primary day in a number of states. It was yesterday, and it was a really big test for the power of former President Donald Trump and his hold over the Republican Party. Now, the results show kind of a mixed bag. The Pennsylvania Senate race is too close to call. Now, the Trump-backed candidate, Dr. Mehmet Oz, you know Dr. Oz from Oprah, and his opponent, Dave McCormick, may be headed for a recount. Dr. Oz praised Trump at his rally last night. Take a look at this.
I want to thank some other individuals who are actually unbelievably close friends, made a big difference in my life, who are always there at every moment. Let's start with 45, President Trump.
In North Carolina's House primary, Trump-backed candidate Madison Cawthorn, and he lost to his Republican challenger, Chuck Edwards. Cawthorn was plagued by leaks of embarrassing videos and pictures. He also angered a lot of Republicans with accusations that they invited him to drug-fueled orgies. Never thought I'd say that in a primary day.
Straight from your grandparents' lips.
Meantime, other Trump-backed candidates like Doug Mastriano and Ted Budd did win their primaries. Al, what did you think about Trump maintaining or losing his power over the Republican Party? Is he still a player?
Oh, he's absolutely still a player. I mean, I am surprised that it seems like it's loosened up a little bit, Lindsay. I thought Dr. Oz was going to run away with it. I don't know if it's because he doesn't live in Pennsylvania. That's kind of an issue when you live in Jersey. You know, I don't know politics like that. So, you know, I'm surprised that Dr. Oz is struggling as much as he is. But we were talking before the show started, and you know, you kind of think it's DeSantis' party. I still think it's like 60-40 Trump. Where are you?
I mean, if you look at how everything's going, there's no president that served one term and then comes back with their endorsement and has all this pull. Usually when people serve one term, nobody wants to hear from them again. So I think President Trump, if you look at, let's say, the Pennsylvania race, okay, so we have McCormick that outspent, you know, Dr. Oz by so much. He is a multimillionaire. He spent millions more than Dr. Oz, and they're neck and neck. We can't, too close to call. So I would say that that's still a lot of pull, especially for somebody that served one term. And if you look at Budd that you talked about in North Carolina, he won like 60% of the vote, was on TV stations talking about his victory early on. He's a Trump-backed candidate. And so, you know, I think it's early, but you're seeing that a lot of these people who are begging for President Trump's endorsement are actually getting the nomination. And that says something, because especially when people are like, okay, you lost the election, move on, he still has a lot of pull. And this goes back to our conversation about him being on Twitter. Like, no matter where he is, we find out what his thoughts are, and we end up applying those to our news cycle. So it's just an interesting cycle that we're in.
It's a great point.
Yeah, that is a good point, that it's a one-term president with that much power.
You go on a weird list. You go on like the Jimmy Carter, George Bush Sr.
It's those
just like
one-offs.
Yeah,
and nobody ever like remembers, like, oh my God, remember when Jimmy Carter lost and then everybody cared about who he cared about? Like that's not the thing.
Yeah,
that's not the conversation. But that's the only conversation that a lot of Republicans or people are having about where people will fall in this election, whether or not they have the Trump backing or, you know.
That's true. I do want to bring up, too, Mastriano, just so you know, for governor of Pennsylvania 1. He is a January 6th shower-upper. He was at the Capitol. He arranged buses for the insurrection. He's an election denier, and he did win in Pennsylvania, the primary for governor. So that's a big win for Trump. He is also being subpoenaed from the January 6th committee about what he did there. But Madison Cawthorn losing to me, I think the Republican Party really wanted him out because he was talking about cocaine-fueled orgies. But I also have to say that gives me thought that perhaps the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Lauren Boeberts might not be as safe as they thought. Those freshmen that came in.
I don't know if they're in the same class.
Maybe not, but I think you could see them.
I think Madison started snitching, and then all of a sudden these videos came out. We didn't see any of these videos until he started talking about they invited me to these parties with cocaine, which I thought was ridiculous. And then there was like backlash towards that, which means that it was true. And so then all of a sudden we saw the video with his cousin. let us never speak of that
He was
again.
naked and
there was a lot going on. If you were raising a child, so I'm glad you did.
I wasn't particularly watching the videos, but I do know of the videos.
He's been in these streets.
But I think that he's been somebody that Democrats weren't obviously favorable of, and then now he has even Kevin McCarthy had to pull him to the side and say, "Come on, man, you have to go." And so I don't think that anybody is wanting this extremist. And I really love that when Ted Budd won last night, he said in his speech that he wants to speak to everybody who's not all the way over to the left, people who are actually in where the most of America lies, somewhere in the middle, and have a conversation about how he can work with those people.
Right.
And so that was promising. That's a good dialogue to have, because that's something that we were happy that Joe Biden did.
Right.
When we saw
Brought
on
us
election
together
day,
anyway.
and he won, he said, I want to make sure that I can reach people that did vote for President Trump. I'm your president as well. And so I think that that's important to hear someone who just won anything say, especially when they're an elected official.
Yes, interesting point. Let's see what you guys think. Please write us in. We've got a really cool viral video for you too. Coming up, we got two movie stunt pros. You ready? They got married. They had a nice surprise performance, as they were stunt people, for their guests. Now, a warning to our viewers, do not try this at home. So the pair performed a burn stunt where they set their clothes on fire. They're walking around. I think they're maybe doing like the Macarena.
You should have to do that when you get divorced.
They ran, and then finally a couple of friends extinguished the flames. But the video has more than 16 million views.
Oh, it's just certain things.
Is that cool at all to anyone? Clap in the studio if you think that's cool. Okay.
What?
16 million people thought that's neat. That's what they do. That's their stunt. That's their thing. If I'm a pigeon wrangler, I release pigeons.
But nobody would say that.
Okay.
Right, that you're risking your life by letting these pigeons fly.
I mean, but what about that? I mean, do you think that would it be old person Al to say there's going to be copycats and that might not go well? And also, does that affect how you handle your marriage? 'Cause you can do that.
I always look at the risk and reward of every decision. You know what I mean? And this is coming from somebody who jumped off the building. We both did in Las Vegas.
Oh, gosh.
Which is a ridiculous choice now at this age versus when I did it in my 20s. I don't know when you did it, Al, but I'm sure you were happy to do it at the time.
30s,
but you don't have to do it again, right? So that's something where it's like, okay, well, if you want to take that risk, fine. But like now everything, especially with kids,
you don't
the
want
risk and reward is like on fire, I'd rather just light a fire by the fireplace.
Is it cool to have a picture of you on fire in your wedding?
That looks like a threat from your ex. Yeah, no, but we're in this thing, and I wonder if like maybe gender reveals, now that they're not so well viewed in the public, maybe we're switching almost like kind of like marriage reveals, like we're getting married and we're also doing backflips down the aisle, like something different to kind of get it, because everybody wants attention.
Would you do comedy at a wedding?
Oh my gosh, no.
Okay.
No, and no one ever should. I just want to tell the audience, just like, whatever, just never book a comic just to like plug them in and like a family. That's not
a good time.
I know people, it's not music. You can't just put it in.
And I've actually been to an event where it was mostly family and a comedian came and said something that was rude to my aunt. And it was a family argument. Like, it was a ruined event, a ruined birthday party, a family debate. And which side are you on, the comedians or my aunts? And I'm sorry for telling this story, but it really happened.
All, I'm mad I haven't heard this story. But Lindsay, what you're talking about, I have so many comics that have told me this. What happens is, like, let's say like your partner Colin goes, I'm gonna book a comic to roast Lindsay. Here's the things to make fun of her, and your family comes over. But just Colin knows that a comic's coming, so now he's ready for this comedy show. But your family's like, who is this dude making fun of our daughter in our living room?
It's not
so
cool.
it's a weird dynamic when it's family or like one group of workers versus the comic. It's a different dynamic. So don't do that.
Don't
Book
do
a DJ.
that.
Yeah.
Book a DJ.
Set yourself on fire. That seems better.
Set your picture on fire.
That's right.
That's according to Tori.
Coming up on DBL, reality star Hazel E. shares the traumatic outcome of her mommy makeover plastic surgery, the complications that came with the pressure to bounce back. And for the first time in 50 years, Congress held a hearing on UFOs. Do you believe in aliens? We're talking about it next.
Closed captioning provided by
Daily Blast Live is always focused, always on cue, always ready, always timely. This May, don't miss a day. DBL is all new every day.
I'd like to talk about hot yoga.
Okay.
I did that this
and you're like
morning.
sweating all day when you do hot yoga.
Yeah,
It's like
I-
nonstop. It doesn't stop until the next day.
It's weird. It's like
It hits
keeps
your
coming out of
bones.
me.
Because I'm wondering why you guys are so hot. Did you work out this morning?
No, I didn't, but I am also just warm. But when you do hot, I don't like hot yoga. If you don't know, hot yoga is the room itself is at like 90 to 100 degrees.
Yeah, at
and
least.
you sweat it out, the toxins, you get it all out. And to me, I'm like so smelly of sweat. I can't.
So my
I
only
can't.
experience doing hot yoga was when I lived in Manhattan. So everybody knows you don't like go to the comfort of your own car afterwards.
Yeah.
You get on the subway.
Subway.
And so I was like, and it was a hot yoga in Manhattan. So there weren't like a gym with showers. It was just like a hot yoga place.
Right.
So I did that one time and got on the train. And I was so self-conscious
That's a disgust-
because I was so disrespectful for getting on the train. I should have hopped in the cab. I didn't have the money for the cab.
Yeah.
It just was a certain time in life.
You are so.
And
It's
to
like
this
you got off
day,
a water
it's my
ride.
most shameful, probably shit thing that I
Yeah,
did.
but
I
you
know
got
that.
it. What are you gonna
I had
do?
to go home, and I lived over on 170th, coming from like 25th Street. If
What
you
is
know
that?
New
The
York,
1, 2, and 3 train or the 8? No.
whatever it was,
Yeah.
I died a slow death on it. So.
Yeah, there's I had to learn the hard way in New York because I got there and I got the subways down quick, but I didn't understand the difference in express trains.
Oh yeah, and local.
So early,
the one is like
I'm
every
about to
3
get off
blocks.
on this street, and then it just you're like, why are we still going so fast?
Oh, I thought you had the opposite. Like you stopped at every single block, and you skipped past like 57
Oh, you
blocks.
did the express.
Yeah, I did the
Yeah,
express
yeah,
by
yeah.
accident. It's great when you're not.
Yeah.
When you're,
I lived in New York for 3 years, and I can't believe
Where'd you
it.
live?
On 84th and Amsterdam.
Oh, Upper West Side.
And like, what was I doing in New York?
What do you mean?
How did I not?
Get
How did I
frantic?
survive?
You've never-
I took
you
the
don't have any New
subways.
York
I
stories.
walked. What's that?
I've never heard you tell one New York story.
I have some.
Yeah,
New
you never
York
told me about New York. This is like breaking news.
Oh yeah, 3 years right after college. I thought I'd be in New York. Welcome back. Are aliens real? Well,
Aren't the Jetsons people?
I think it's the Jetsons. Oh, yeah, they were people.
Yeah.
Well, Congress held a hearing on UFOs yesterday. They showed 2 videos that have never been seen by the public, including this one that shows a flashing green triangle-like object. So it turns out this unidentified aerial phenomenon has a very good explanation. Take a look.
Now reasonably confident that these triangles correlate to unmanned aerial systems in the area. The triangular appearance is a result of light passing through the night vision goggles and then being recorded by an SLR camera.
Okay, they also showed the second video, which if you blink, you're gonna miss it, okay? Hold on. Right there, do you see it? There it is.
The blimp.
It was taken from the cockpit of an F-18 and shows an unidentified flying object rushing past.
One of Lindsay's speed blimps. You can usually get a bead on a blimp.
Very quickly. Now, ultimately, we learned that there are about 400 reports of these sightings. At least 80 of the incidents were detected by multiple sensors, and they did say these objects do pose a threat to national security. But here's the thing. They didn't explain where these objects come from and if they're aliens. So the big thing here is they're having closed-door sessions today with the Congress and the Senate to discuss, is this perhaps another country's technological surveillance systems we know nothing about yet? Is this China? Is this Russia? Is this something Americans don't have the technology for yet? And that is a threat to national security. Thoughts?
I had a funny conversation with Colin because I was tuned out when I got out of work yesterday, and he shows me always like bootleg news sites, and I'm like, that's not a reputable source. And so he's like,
Show
there's
this
really,
on the show.
yeah, he's like, there's really aliens, and I'm like, no. He's like, okay, well, Congress, the United States Congress is speaking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh. And the fact that we did it in the morning meeting, I'm like, oh my gosh.
They're not, but they're not probably aliens. Again, they're not like ET is out there. In my mind, I think this is other countries' surveillance. Does anyone disagree and think that it's really like
But we have surveillance as well. Like, I feel like there's probably a group of hackers and spies that kind of hack on each country and they kind of know who's where. I don't think anybody would have this kind of technology and no other country knows anything about it.
That's why they're having closed
And
sessions.
the speed with which it was moving, what data are you collecting at that speed?
And not only that, they can turn around very high knots of wind. Is that what you say, knots?
I guess, yeah.
Knots, gusts. They can turn easily.
But
so you just ruled out the alien thing and just
I
said
think
this
it's
is
more likely that this is
Lindsay,
a high-tech Chinese.
I think everybody's ruling this out because I think most people think that they are aliens, and we're still trying to wrap our head around it. I think what else could that be? Like, we don't have anything that moves like
You
that.
think it's more likely?
I said a blimp.
One country has that kind of technology, and the rest of us are like, I don't know.
That's the whole point. Perhaps it's hidden, and we don't know that. And
nobody can hide full technology that
We've
well.
hidden technology. You think they know all about our stealth jets and super things?
You know about it.
Right. And they always talk about it. They do documentaries about it, and then they say the people are lying.
But
and then
I
we
hope-
find out 20 years later it's true.
But I hope there's more than stealth
Is the
that we
bigger
don't know.
question that people are more okay with it than we thought we would be? Because then in the movies, people are running around the streets and, oh my God. And I think Lindsay's like, yeah, that might be it.
I always like to think if there were aliens that I would be spared because I'm a good person. So I don't get that far into the thought about if the aliens would be like Men in Black
Alien
status.
writing your name down with the
Yeah, like it's like Santa Claus. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting the lump of coal.
Well, Sam, our other co-host, believes, and her brother is a UFOologist, believes that perhaps they are extraterrestrials, but they're kind and they just want to learn. There doesn't need to be angry.
What would they learn from us? They can get to us. We can't get to them.
Maybe they learn about love.
Okay.
They learn about politics.
Maybe they learn about love.
That's a good point.
Okay? Love and connection. And this show. Coming up on DBL, reality star Hazel talks about the pressure of bouncing back after having a baby, why getting a mommy makeover turned into a nightmare for her. That's coming up next. Stay tuned for that. We love
do it every night. You might have seen it on TV. This commercial claims running your dishwasher every day can save on water. That's when our Verify emails started coming in. Multiple people asking us if this is true. So the question, does running your dishwasher every day help save water? Let's verify. Our source is Mary Geiger, owner of All About the Pipes Plumbing, Anta Plumbing and Drain, and Charlotte Water. We went straight to the city of Charlotte. In an email, Charlotte City Water told us it depends on if it's a newer, more efficient appliance and how full the dishwasher is. They then told us a plumber would have the best answer. So we reached out to Geiger.
So it is much more beneficial to use the dishwasher.
On Anta Plumbing and Drain's website, it also states the dishwasher uses half the water you would have used by hand washing the dishes.
You could use 20 to 30 gallons per hand wash load of dishes versus most of the efficient dishwashers nowadays use anywhere between 3 and 5 gallons.
Geiger says an average faucet, if you leave it running, can drain 2 gallons per minute. So even if your dishwasher is not full, she says it's a better option and more sanitary.
You're not using sponges or washcloths that are harbor bacteria.
So we can verify that yes, running your dishwasher every day can save on water. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Daily Blast Live is always focused, always ready, always on cue, always timely. This May, don't miss a day. DBL is all new every day. She became a reality star on Love and Hip Hop, and now this mom is getting very real about plastic surgery and the pressure to snap back. Y'all know about that if you're moms. Earlier, we spoke to Hazel about her mommy makeover nightmare. Take a look.
Hey, Hazel. So before your mommy makeover nightmare, you had some positive experiences with plastic surgery, and you've been pretty transparent about it. So what did you have done initially, and what made you want it?
Initially, I have had positive experiences in the past with my nose revision after breaking it. So after I had my daughter, Ava Dior, I decided to go for a traditional mommy makeover, which is like a tummy tuck, breast augmentation, and liposuction. And God, it just went deadly from there.
Wow.
Which brings me to my next question, Hazel. I got a couple of them. Why travel overseas to have plastic surgery in the middle of a pandemic, mind you?
It was an offer for being an influencer on social media. I had another celebrity friend that had said she went and had a positive experience. And they were just like, we want to come do you a mommy makeover, show off your amazing results. We're here in Istanbul. I've traveled to Istanbul before. I've spent a lot of time in Dubai, so I wasn't nervous about going abroad for plastic surgery just because I've been going over there for years. So I did it. It was a pandemic. And I thought, like, at the place I was going to, they said, oh, we have recovery homes. We have nannies to help with your baby. The offer just seemed too good to be true. And clearly it was. You know, you pay thousands of dollars for these procedures. I wasn't even thinking about a mommy makeover because my daughter was only 9 months at the time. But they were like, no, it's fine. We can do it now. You're 9 months postpartum. We can take the selling point was we can take more fat than they can in America because we don't have the same HIPAA guidelines, which now currently that might not be such a good thing, right?
I do appreciate your transparency. So please walk us and our audience through like exactly what went wrong with your mommy makeover. Like talk to us about the complications, if you would.
Okay, so the misconception right now is that there was one mommy makeover. No, I went to Turkey, had the first mommy makeover. I was supposed to be there for 10 days, which turned into 30.
Oh my goodness.
In those first 10 days, my breasts got infected. Oh. So I go into the mommy makeover. The first thing that goes wrong is my breasts get infected. So they had to then remove the breast implants that I didn't even want and make boobs out of what the tissue I had left. So that was the first disappointment. I then ended up with 2 blood transfusions, and then I had to go under a third surgery because the tummy tuck got infected. So they had to cut the tummy, they reopened the tummy tuck and remove the fat necrosis in that. Cut to, that was in April of 2021. In October of 2021, I got another one of these offers in Miami saying, let us fix the tummy tuck that they messed up for you in Turkey. And I'm like, well, you guys can fix it. You guys can fix me, fix all this stuff. Because now I'm in America now. Like now we were equating to everything happening that went bad because I was overseas. So I then take this offer. They even paid me for this second procedure in Miami at 305 Plastic Surgery. And I ended up getting sepsis. Oh. I was in the hospital for 30 days and I'm in wound therapy and all kind of stuff now because of this tummy tuck and the tummy tuck revision that I did last year.
Hazel, this is criminal. Wow. I listen, and
it
again,
seems predatory.
It's predatory. It's criminal. She was coerced, like honestly, and I can't imagine. You must be still dealing with these issues, not to mention the PTSD from your bad plastic surgery. How are you feeling now?
I have to shout out to Dr. Ish, my doctor, psychiatrist on marriage boot camp, because I was suffering a lot of PTSD. I wasn't sleeping. I was having these recurring nightmares. Like, you get blood transfusions in another country, it is traumatic beyond experience.
And are you against plastic surgery now?
I'm not against plastic surgery, only because we live in such a vain world. We live in an Instagrammable world. We live in a place where image is everything. And so people are going to go ahead and still get these procedures, whether you can advise them or not.
DBL Nation, you got to check out Hazel Lee's new podcast, You've Been Hazed. It's available on all platforms. We appreciate you. We'll be right back.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Darling.
In a call with shareholders, Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz announced the company would be offering hundreds of millions of dollars worth of new benefits, including raises to its employees. But he said those benefits won't be available to workers who are in unions or are in the process of unionizing. An article on the company website reads, Starbucks lacks the right to unilaterally make these changes at stores where there is a union or union organizing. The Starbucks Workers Union filed a complaint with the National Labor Relations Board, saying the announcement is intended to stop union organizing. The union also told Verify, quote, Starbucks is permitted by law to offer these benefits to workers at unionized stores. Our bargaining committees will demand that these modest improvements be given immediately to all. So let's verify. Does labor law allow Starbucks to offer raises and new benefits to its unionized workers? Our sources, the National Labor Relations Act, the National Labor Relations Board, and Matthew Bodie, a law professor at St. Louis University with experience in labor law. The National Labor Relations Act is the primary law governing what's legal and not legal when it comes to unions. And here's the pertinent section for this case. It says there is a, quote, mutual obligation of the employer and the representative of the employees to meet at reasonable times and confer in good faith with respect to wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment. The National Labor Relations Board expands on what exactly that means on its website. It says employers cannot, quote, make changes in wages, hours, working conditions, or other mandatory subjects of bargaining before negotiating with the union. So it's true that the company could not just start giving new benefits unilaterally to their unionized workers without first checking with the union. But there's nothing that says they're prohibited from making that offer to the union.
The only requirement is that they would go to the union and say, okay, we want to bargain with you. We're raising everyone else's at these non-union represented locations. You know, can we do it at your store?
So we can verify, yes, labor law allows Starbucks to offer raises and new benefits to its unionized workers. When we asked Starbucks about this, the company declined to elaborate on their previous public statements. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Twitter bots are pretty much exactly what they sound like, automated tools that tweet without a person behind the keyboard. But they're not all bad. Bots can be used to share valuable information, like COVID updates, job postings, and traffic reports. The real problem is malicious bots posing as real people. They can be used to spread misinformation, fill your feed with spam, and generally disrupt interaction on social media. According to Twitter's official estimates, there are roughly 229 million active bots on the service. That's roughly 5% of Twitter's daily active users. But back in 2017, an independent study by an Israeli tech company estimated that anywhere from 9 to 15% are bots. The actual number is still yet to be determined, but it could potentially play a big role in Twitter's future.
Welcome back to DBL. Unlocked social media accounts are being sold on the dark web. Sounds so scary.
Wow. What does that mean?
It's time, we'll tell you. It's time for a security alert sponsored by Lifelock. So you could receive a malicious link from a friend's account that will take you over to your account and lock you out too. So avoid becoming a victim. Never click on anything that seems suspicious, even if it's from someone you know. Always check their profile for spam and other unusual activity, and always change your passwords regularly. But the biggest tip, never share your personal information with others on social media, especially strangers. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-953-0836 or visit lifelock.com to learn more.
I'm so weary of links now. I don't click on things from like people that I actually know. Like, did you see the Google Drive pictures? I'm like, nope.
Of my wedding they having?
Yeah, sometimes I'll just get the spam where it's just a friend I know that I haven't talked to him and just says, hey, and it'll just say, I'll have a link. Like, we never have talked like that.
Yeah,
so
let's never do it. Yeah.
Let's not start today.
Just be cautious. DBL's new every day. We will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Done.